All right, so this is my newest Gundam figure, and I'm going to do um, what I think could be a very interesting video for people because whenever I buy figures, they always list the size, but they never list the weight. I've never seen, or at least very rarely. And so it's kind of interesting to see what the weight is of these figures because it kind of gives an indication of the density of the figure and particularly of the amount of die cast in it. And I have had all plastic figures that were absolutely incredible. So just because there's more die cast doesn't necessarily mean it's a better figure, but it is kind of an interesting indication. So we're going to put this figure on. And this one is 416 grams, which is the same as 14.7 ounces. Okay, so a little less than a pound on this figure. Next, we're going to do a Blitzway figure. And this is Getter Robo. I've not even checked this one yet. So this one is 612 or 1 pound, 5.6 ounces. So it's definitely heavier, but it's also quite a bit larger. So the way my camera is on here, let's see. We'll adjust that a little bit. Okay. So a fairly dense figure. And next we're going to do SkyX Studios, which is also Getter Robo, but this one is larger figure. So we'll put this one on here. And this one is 2 pounds and 6.2 ounces. So this is a heavy one. This is a big one. Now it is quite a bit larger, so it's not surprising that it's quite a bit heavier. But that is a pretty dense figure. So well over 2 pounds for this figure. Next up, we're going to have CCS Toys, which prides itself on its content of its percentage of die cast. This one is 2 pounds and 0.4 ounces. So this one is heavier than the SkyX Studio figure. I'm sorry, the SkyX Studio figure is heavier. I'm cutting off. Sorry about that. Cutting off this, but if I put these down here, the SkyX Studio is clearly taller. I'm sorry, I'm not showing everything. Clearly taller. The CCS Toys is clearly taller. The SkyX Studio is beefier. But the one that kind of surprised me, or maybe I shouldn't be surprised. So let's put this back on here. This is 2 pounds, 0.4 ounces, or 917 grams. And then we'll take a look at my second newest figure, which is another one. It's a Bandai figure Gundam. And you can see he is quite a bit smaller than the CCS Toys figure. But we'll place him on. This one is 941 grams. So 941 grams versus 917 grams. So this Bandai figure is heavier. And this is a dense, heavy figure. Of all the figures, I don't know. This one might be the densest. This one has a lot of die cast in it. So this one, let me see. Let me remind myself. Was that more or less than? I think that was less. Yeah, this one is over 1,000, 1,083, but it is quite a bit larger. So at some point, maybe I'll get a better setup. I think that I'm kind of constraining myself here, but it is interesting to see the weights of these different figures. And, I'm sure that very, very inexpensive figures you'll find weigh dramatically less. But I would say for pound for size, this is probably the highest, and we'll see if I can find any figures um, that are denser than this one. This is the Bond. I can't remember the name of it. I got it just recently, but it's one of the Bandai Gundam figures.